How about a big hand for Chip and the gang putting all this together again, huh? And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you too for coming out here on Independence Day to display your patriotism and your love for your country. You know, a few years back, there was actually a politician in Washington, D.C. that said that it is actually our patriotic duty to disagree with the administration and the government. So thank you all for coming out. Now, some of you know who said that. Believe it or not, it was Secretary of State Clinton. So I hope she's okay with us on the other end giving her some discontent. But, you know, as Chip said, I am running for Congress. Be honest with you, that's not why I'm here today. You know, I could ask for your support or your vote or your campaign contribution, but I think there's a better time and place for that. I'm here because I want to talk a little bit about why I decided to run. Now, I have a feeling that some of the reasons I decided to run are some of the same reasons that you're all sitting out here today. So thank you for coming out again. And I got to tell you, you know, years ago, I enlisted in the Marine Corps, okay? And thank you. At Semper Fi, thank you. You know, and when I enlisted, I had to swear an oath that I was going to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I gotta tell you, I cannot sit idly by and watch as any course of events takes place that jeopardizes the ability of my children or their children or any future generation to, you know, enjoy the freedoms and the liberties that are guaranteed to them by the sacrifices of our founding fathers and by countless defenders throughout the course of the centuries. So unfortunately, as many of you probably feel, I fear that the oppressive weight of our expanding government, our idiotic tax law, and thank you, Ms. Bledsoe, for telling everyone about the fair tax. You know, the tax law, blatant fiscal irresponsibility, uncalled for government intervention in our economy. This is long since past the point of reasonable and rational restraint, and it's got to stop. So let me be clear about something though. Thank you. This is not a partisan issue, okay? It's not a Democrat or a Republican or even a libertarian issue, all right? And it's not a liberal versus conservative issue. It's just a systemic problem in our government that, you know, we no longer have a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Nowadays, it's more along the lines of the career politicians, for the lobbyists, and, you know, in the interest of the special interest groups. Well, that's got to stop too. And, you know, there's a quote I read recently. I want to read it to you here. It says, "A state too expensive in itself, or by virtue of its dependencies, ultimately falls into decay. Its free government is transformed into a tyranny. It disregards the principles which it should preserve, and finally degenerates into despotism." You know, you may think that that quote came from a book by some modern radio talk show host, or maybe that it was one of our founding fathers' quotes, but, you know, as weird as it seems, believe it or not, that quote was from 1815, and it wasn't even from an American. It was from a man we all know by the name of Simon Bolivar, after whom the Bolivarian Republic of Argentina is named. And even then, he knew that the overbloated government was the source of the problems that the people face, not the solution, okay? Now, Thomas Jefferson once said that when the people fear the government, then there's tyranny. And when the government fears the people, then there is liberty. Well, I say enough. Well, we're no longer fearing our government. Amen. And the reason that we're all here today, well, it's simple. You know, many of us know where the root of the problem lies. And it's in the, as Ms. Bledsoe put it, 65,000-page tax code. Let me tell you something. My wife bought me a book for Christmas. It was 1,000 pages long. I read it in my spare time. You've probably heard of it. It's called Atlas Shrugs. And it took me about 5 or 6 months to read that in my spare time. If I was reading the tax code, I would be retired by the time I finished reading it. But as it turns out, not only is it 65,000 pages long, but they keep adding to it and changing it. 500 pages a year, I would probably never finish the tax code. And we need to stop that madness. It has got to stop. So it's time that we take our government back from the people that think they have the control over us. Because like it or not, rich or poor, regardless of your race, your religion, your creed, if you're a U.S. citizen, you're unfortunately involved in what amounts to a small economic battle between the government and the governed. Some people want to fight it, some people don't. Well, that's fine. But you know what? As the proponents of a little thing called the 9/12 Project like to say, we surround them, not the other way around. So in closing, I want to actually leave you with a call to action. Now, the call to action is that basically, as Ms. Bledsoe so eloquently put it, we can no longer sit idly by and watch as our liberties and our freedoms erode before our eyes. You know, the rallies like this, they are important, yes, but it's time to go beyond these rallies and get involved, just like Dr. Lark said, every day, every way we can. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to educate yourselves. Read everything you can get. Get these pamphlets, read them. Go to the fairtax.org website, read it. Find out about the 9/12 Project. Educate yourself. While you're at it, you know what? Pick up one of these. Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. Read it and learn it. And then second, once you're there and you're educated, I want you to find your voice. I want you to get out and be active and be involved and let people know that apathy is just no longer acceptable. That third of the people that just didn't want, leave me alone, we've got to get them involved. Now, how do you do that? It's simple. You get up and you fight for your freedoms that the forefathers gave us by writing your elected officials, voicing your opinion, write letters to the editor, offer to speak at meetings or rallies just like this. Run against me for Congress. Come on, let's do it. But the third and most important one that we all need to take to heart is to be very vigilant and hold your elected officials accountable for the actions and their votes. And you tell them, raise my taxes, lose my vote. No uncertain terms, no ifs, ands, or buts. So in closing, thanks again, Chip, for the opportunity. And I do greatly appreciate all of you coming out today. God bless America. Let's keep her free.